What's up, comic book fans, and welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me, and today we got the dawn of DC's Batman, number 142 by Chip Zdarsky. And what makes this issue so special is that it's part one of the Joker year one. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we get the first days of the Joker in a new 3-part miniseries within the Batman comics. And these are going to be released weekly. So if you guys are ready to see this new origin story for the Clown Prince of Crime, let's get it. So this issue starts off with an older version of Batman, and he's doing an autopsy on the Joker, or at least what looks to be the Joker. And he's thinking to himself, "You are the devil. It's the only answer. An evil that exists forever. No matter what I do, I'll never get the chance to autopsy your madness. And time is running out. For me, never for you. What are you hiding for me this time? Decades of this. Clues and trails, none of which led to my joy, your death. Because how can the devil die?" Then he comes across a red pill inside this body, but the pill is undissolved and it's empty. So the clue is the pill, Batman thinks to himself. Then he continues to think, this pill is made of the same material as what he wore as the Red Hood when we first met. But why 2 masks? Not 3, not 1, but 2. Years ago, I confirmed that Red Mask inadvertently created triplicates of the Joker. So what didn't he tell me all those years ago? During that prison confession. Now there's a couple things for us to unpack here. First, we know that this is a future version of Batman because it was, I believe, in Batman 134, which was just released last year as of this taping. But Batman, who was sent into the multiverse, had found out that the Red Mask was a man named Darwin Halliday. And this guy wanted to become the Joker. And Darwin, who was a former head of a pharmaceutical company, found a way to jump into the multiverse, even through time. And when Darwin came across the Joker in another universe, it was revealed that the Joker saw him, and that's what caused the original Joker's mind to snap. Darwin couldn't become the Joker because he had created the Joker. And as Batman chased Darwin through the multiverse, it created other Jokers. So essentially, Batman fighting the Red Mask is what created the Joker. And now the second thing we need to unpack is the prison confession. In the last issue of Batman number 141, as the Batman fought an alternate version of himself, the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, he ended up imprisoned by Zur-En-Arrh alongside of the Joker. And when he was in prison with the Joker, he wanted to know how the Joker knew everything about him and his alternate personality of Zur-En-Arrh, to which the Joker went to reveal the answers, but we were then told that it would be continued in the Joker year one. So back to this issue. When we transition to year one of the Joker, when he fought the Batman as the Red Hood and was then dropped into that vat of chemicals, the origin that we all know, we then see the Joker's mind begins to snap as he just can't stop laughing. Although he tries to fight it, as we see him thinking to himself to stop laughing, but he's confronted by 2 other versions of himself fighting for control. And then he finally becomes the monster that we all know. So then we pick up with a woman, and as she's taking out the trash, she's confronted by the Joker, who sneaks up on her and says to her, "Sally, I know how I look, but you've got to believe me. It's all because I love you. I got caught up in some terrible things, so I could give you the life you deserve." Then as he walks off saying to her that he can fix this, just wait for me, we see a man walk out of the house and says to this lady, "Jody, are you okay? Who was that?" To which the lady replies that she has no idea. So then we transition to 6 months later, and the Joker is in the apartment of what looks to belong to somebody that he's killed, and he's arguing with his own mind, thinking that he had it all planned out. It started with heists, taking what was mine, but then it became something else. It became about chaos. You always ruin things. You go too far. Chaos. But it wasn't your fault. I must have been. And we see in the mirror that he's speaking with his Red Hood persona as he tells him that he must have been betrayed. Someone in my gang must have talked to the cops or to that Batman. Then we transition to Jim Gordon, and he's still a detective at this time. And he's called in to speak with his captain, who is acting commissioner until the mayor finds a replacement. And the commissioner is giving him a hard time about his report on the Ace chemical mess. He feels like this is a love letter to a vigilante. But Gordon, he sticks to his morals, and he tells the commissioner that this is the truth, that Batman stopped the Red Hood gang from killing thousands. But the commissioner, he isn't trying to hear it, and he sends Gordon to rewrite the report. Then we see Gordon start to fight with a dirty cop once he leaves the commissioner's office, which is broken up by other officers nearby. Then as the dirty detective walks away, we see him stopped by the acting commissioner, and he tells this detective that Gordon is a problem for the both of them. And you don't poke a problem, you solve it for good. Then we transition to the future as the Joker is hooked up to a machine, and the Batman thinks to himself that we couldn't solve the Joker, so we locked him away in Arkham and hooked him up to a machine. Barbara's idea when she became commissioner, where in his mind, he was still going, still fighting, still trying to one-up me. But an Arkham doctor was too tempted. He wanted to study the most malevolent and brilliant mind to ever exist. Then we see that this doctor was killed and a note was left behind saying, "I'll see you soon." As Batman then continues to think that whatever he was about to do, it was going to be big. I just didn't realize how big. So then we transition back over into Joker's year one, and we're taken to this bar, and there's a couple of guys there talking about an altercation when the Joker decides to insult one of these guys, even though his mind is telling him not to do it, shut up. But then he continues to insult this guy. So the guy comes up and approaches him, and we see here that his mind is still this scared version of himself, but his words represent the chaotic monster that he's becoming. But this guy then picks up the Joker, and we see his face completely covered in makeup, still dishing out insults. Then this guy and his boys start to jump on him and beat the crap out of him as we see that the makeup is now starting to rub off. Then the Joker breaks a bottle and then he stabs one of the guys with it. Meanwhile, there's another guy in there with him that's actually helping to defend the Joker. And then we see that this guy was one of the Red Hood's men, number 22. He hadn't been picked up by the cops. He had gotten away, and he and the Joker then decide to leave this bar before any cops show up. So as they leave, we see one of the guys at the bar makes a phone call to number 2, who's now leading the Red Hood gang, and he tells him about who he just encountered. Then when number 2 hangs up, he tells his crew that they need to postpone what they've been planning because their old boss just showed up, and he thinks they need to kill him. Then we transition to the Black Hood gang, who rob a jewelry store by trying to follow the playbook of the Red Hood gang. And as they're trying to get away, they're met with Batman, who stops them pretty easily and leaves them tied up for the police. Then we see Batman meeting up with Gordon, who wants Batman to stick around, but Batman knows that the new commissioner has it in for him. But then Batman tells Gordon that all these gangs are just copycats of the Red Hood gang, and the Red Hood gang is still out there. But as Jim Gordon assumes their leader is dead after falling into the chemical vat, Batman reveals that there was no body, and after testing the chemical compound, it wasn't corrosive enough to remove human remains that quickly. So now Gordon's like, that's just great. We're battling copycat gangs, we just recovered from the Riddler, and now we have to worry about a mildly corroded genius gang leader. So then we go back to the Joker and number 22 as they're walking the streets. And when number 22 goes inside of a pizza spot to grab him some food, the Joker looks above and he sees Batman swinging through the air. Then the Joker freaks out and he runs away. And as he gets away, he thinks to himself that the Batman hurt us. He's beautiful and terrifying, and he caused us pain. Then as we see him approach a nearby reservoir by Ace Chemicals, he thinks to himself that maybe we just walk away and start over somewhere else. We don't need revenge or violence. No more chaos. I'm scared. Then as he looks at the reflection of his old self in the water, he begins to choke him, saying that he is chaos. And this is where he destroys his old self and embraces his new chaotic persona. Then he's approached by a man that had been following him for months. And this guy tells him that chaos that fears isn't really chaos. Then he tells him that he's impressed, and he doesn't impress easily. So when the Joker asks him who he is, this guy responds that he's the man that can teach him how to harness his mind to never feel fear again, to be the greatest force this world has ever known. So now Joker is asking him what makes him so qualified to do this. And the guy replies that it's because I'm the smartest man in the world and I trained Batman. So then we're taken back to the future and we get Batman again. As he replays the last words that the Joker said to him, he thinks to himself, the Red Hood, whether it's just one or more, he's calling me to where it all started. I don't have a choice, and he knows it. And now the whole situation is a nightmare of darkness. Somewhere in this city, Duke is infected, and his powers are absorbing all the light, plunging Gotham into eternal night. Everyone's infected. An audible virus spread by laughter. And now the world is the Joker. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the issue. So you guys let me know in the comments what you thought about this issue. I thought it was a pretty interesting look into the psyche of the Joker. And I really enjoy how it showed us what happened to the Joker after he fell into that vat of chemicals. I like how it combines Batman Year Zero and The Killing Joke to give you a complete look into what made him what he is today. But if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, then you can help out tremendously by donating to the channel with a super thanks. And if you aren't able to do that, you can also help the channel out by dropping a like, share, and subscribing to Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out. Peace.